friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. A few videos back, we kind of sneak peeked the idea that we were going to work on a video showing you how we kind of plan and manage all things gardening and food preservation, and how we work those things into our monthly planner or calendar that we see and look at every single day. For us this year, that is the Laurel Denise Planner. We had that video introducing you to the Laurel Denise Planner. If you missed that one, be sure to check it out. But in that video, we talked about how we're going to use the Laurel Denise Planner together with our very own Sprout to Supper Planner to create a system to where we aren't forgetting those important garden dates. So if you're new here, you may not know, but we have a Sprout to Supper Planner, but it's not something that you can plan your work task or your daily task and your appointments and all of that in. It's not like a monthly and a weekly and a daily calendar. It's more of like a roadmap that takes you from the time that the seed needs to go into the ground to growing it, to harvesting it, to preserving it, and then serving it in your meals via meal planning. So what I found last year was our planner was like, I don't want to sound like I'm posting or whatever, but we nailed it as far as being able to break things up into manageable chunks. But what was missing was moving those dates and to-dos into my daily, weekly, monthly routine so that I could see on my, daily spread every day what I needed to do that week or what I needed to do that month. Because what I found was if I wasn't in my Sprout to Supper planner every single day, I was forgetting those important dates. And when it comes to getting seeds started, when it comes to transplanting seeds, when it comes to harvesting before frost dates and things like that, dates are really important. And I was finding that I was just letting those dates slip by me because they weren't right in front of my face. I don't know if anyone else out there is like that, but something needs to be like right in front of my face for me to be able to remember it. So what we did this year...
Oops, I lost my mic just for a few seconds. So I spent most of December testing out ways to incorporate those garden important task dates and to-dos into my planner that already has my daily, weekly, and monthly routines.
How could I use that to incorporate my gardening routines and dates and to-dos without cluttering it up and just keeping it still streamlined and simplified? So I've been working on that for the last 2 months, and I'm excited to say that I think I have got this nailed down and we are ready to share it with you. If that is something that interests you, please keep watching and we will dig in. Okay, here we go. I'm hoping y'all can be able to see that pretty good. So this is not a how to plan video, so I'm not going to go through all of my appointments and how I keep records and reminders and stuff like that. There are plenty of wonderful videos on YouTube for that. What I want to do specifically is address the gardening and food preservation aspect and how I incorporate that into my life planner, my daily planner, things that keep me going, keep me from forgetting things. How do I make that work? So if you are new to the Laurel Denise Planner, I do just want to very quickly give you a brief overview. I'm going to turn the page to February so that you can see what it looks like on a blank month. You can see it's just a lot of white space. You've got your month calendar over here, your weeklies here. What is very unique about this planner is that your weekly pages flip while keeping your monthly view in place and while keeping your to-do list, and you have like a dashboard space right here to create anything that you want to create. And that is really the game-changing nature of this planner, is just being able to have your monthly, your weekly, your daily, and then your notes, tasks, to-dos, and stuff like that in view at all times. So we are, let's see, I keep my normal appointments and must-dos and all those things on my monthly and my weekly, but if you notice this color coding here, you can see that these boxes, because there is all of this space over here, the boxes in the monthly are a little bit smaller than what you might get on like a wall calendar or a traditional planner, but it is absolutely worth it to have all of this space laid out. But because the boxes are smaller, what I do is I just kind of write the keyword or the overview task of what I need to do as far as gardening over in my monthly. So you can see here on Saturday, January 13th, I have jug sow, and you can see that's highlighted in green. So then I can come over here, let me scoot this, and over here I have a garden section right here. and I can go through and have my general to-dos, but oh yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying specifically January 13th. So I'm going to flip to the January 13th date, which is here. I have Saturday and Sunday here. I went ahead and kind of did a different little design with my weekly layout. I'm just kind of testing it out, see what works. But so here is Saturday the 13th, and I have jug so, cabbage, and kale. So when I look at my monthly view over here, I know that Saturday and Sunday are both have green highlights, and those are call outs for my brain saying, hey, you've got something that needs to happen in the garden at this time. And then I can come over here and see more details. So over here I just have jug so, and on Sunday I just have potatoes. But then I can go over here to my weekly and see, okay, I need to jug so cabbage and kale, and I need to buy potatoes for chitting. So the jug so cabbage and kale, that is kind of short form for the winter sowing method. The winter sowing method is a way of starting seeds using milk jugs, and you do them in the winter. So for instance, it is, the first week of January here. I'm in zone 7B, and I'm going to be putting out my seeds with next week, which is if you're new to gardening or thinking about gardening, that might sound a little strange to you about starting seeds in the winter time, but that is the wonder of winter sowing. It is fantastic. The milk jug acts as a greenhouse, and it allows you to get those seeds started. And what's awesome is the seed is not going to wake up, so to speak, and sprout until the conditions are ready. So you can put the seeds outside in your milk jugs in January, and they might not sprout till the second week of February when the conditions are perfect inside of that milk jug for it to sprout. So it takes a lot of the timing out of seed starting. You don't have to be so meticulous with starting seeds, every single week at a certain date, or counting backwards from your frost date or anything like that. It's like everything gets sown in the winter time in January and February typically, and they will sprout when they're ready to sprout. So that is the method of seed starting that I have done for the last 3 years, and I don't think I will ever do it any other way because it is I just absolutely love it, and it's been so successful for me in my garden. Sunday, buy potatoes for chitting. That's kind of a funny sounding word, but this just means that to start potatoes, I use grocery store potatoes because the certified seed potatoes at the store tend to be very overpriced in my opinion. And grocery store potatoes, as long as you get organic, meaning they're not sprayed with any kind of anti-sprouting chemical, they sprout just fine and they grow just fine. I've been planting store-bought potatoes for 2 years now. This will be my 3rd year, and it's great. So potatoes need to go into the ground in my area around Valentine's Day. So that means about a month before Valentine's Day, I need to go ahead and get my potatoes from the grocery store and prepare them. So chitting, what that means is you allow the eyes on the potatoes to sprout. And once they sprout, about at least maybe 1 to 2 inch stems, what you do is you cut them to where each little chunk of potato has 1 to 2 eyes on it, and then you allow that cut potato to kind of scab over and dry out a little bit. And that entire process can take up to 3 to 4 weeks. So that's why if they need to go into the ground in mid-January, in mid-February, that means in mid-January I need to start this process and purchase them from the grocery store. And you can see here on Sunday the 14th I have meal plan, and that's why I scheduled that potatoes on my meal plan day so that I know when I'm making my grocery list that day, I need to put 30, 40 pounds of potatoes on there for planting. And that's just kind of giving you a general idea of like why I so desperately needed to get my gardening to-dos into my regular planner and calendar, because it's dates like those, it's time frames like those that would slip past me and I'd be like, oh wow, I'm 3 weeks late on preparing my potatoes for planting and all that. So now that we have, that's just kind of my system so far, is color coding the task green and then detailing the task in my weekly view. And then over here on my margins page, this is, like I said, on the blank, it's just blank here on the calendar day. So you can make this whatever you want. For me, I just printed out, I designed a little design in Canva and I just printed it out and glued it. I put margins because this is just like, this is what needs to happen in the margins of my month. It doesn't need to happen on a particular day, no particular time, no particular week, but it does need to happen sometime in January, sometime in this month. So when the time opens up for me, as a busy mom, homeschooling mom, work from home mom, when the time opens up in my margins, that's when these types of things need to happen. So here I have order myco. That's just short for, it's like an inoculated mushroom type fungi that is really good for helping the roots uptake nutrients from the soil, and it's just fantastic for starting seed or transplanting those seeds into the ground. And I need to price check bone meal. Now is the time of year when a lot of fertilizers and amendments are on sale because it's out of the season. It's not the normal season, so a lot of times companies will try to be, getting rid of some things, and you can get some good sales on items. Shade cloth, same thing. A lot of times I can find some sales this time of year because it's out of season. Jug sow first round, we already talked about that. So this is just like a task list of things that need to generally happen this month. Okay, so now for the super exciting part. In the back of the planner, we have lots of blank pages that we can kind of do with what we want. And I have dedicated 3 pages in the back to helping me get my items from our Sprout to Supper planner into here. So before we dig into here, you can see I have a jug sow column, bed prep column, transplant or sow column, and then over here I just have a little harvest notes of projected dates of harvest. I don't want to fill in these dates until I'm certain about this date. This is just like reminding me that, hey, around February 17th, you need to go ahead and sow your carrots, but life happens and it might be February 21st, so I'm not putting those dates in just yet. And then I just have like a notes column, but you can see here that I have particular dates here written for winter sowing, bed prep, actually transplanting into the ground. But where did I get those dates? And that's where I needed to transfer things from our Sprout to Supper planner. Our Sprout to Supper planner is printable. You're not going to get this little book. This is just something I ordered on Amazon, and our Sprout to Supper planner is printable, and you can put it in whatever planner that you want to. So we have the planning stage, the inventory stage, the garden stage, canning, dehydrating, meal planning, and then all of our canning recipes and stuff like that. But that's where I would turn from the garden page. I still have my 2023, a lot of my 2023 things in here. Here's the 2023 garden layout. But that's where I got all of the dates that I would transfer into here. Is I go ahead and get my, let's see, I'm trying to find a page that, let's see. Well, first deciding what to plant each year. That's something that's like the very first thing, right? Is deciding what do I need to grow. So I would first go into my inventory and figure out, okay, what I need to do my canning inventory and figure out what I need. And then I would come here to our what to plant for a year to figure out how much I need. So we needed a lot of cabbage. We have already run out of all of our cabbage preserves, which is canned coleslaw starter, dehydrated cabbage shreds, and freeze-dried cabbage like chunks. And we're already completely out of that. So I know that I need to grow a lot more cabbage this year. So when I was making out my grow list, that was the first thing that I put on it. And here we see 2 to 4 plants per person. I always go on the upper number. So 4, we're a family of 5, so I need to grow at least 20 heads of cabbage. Last year we only grew, I think it was 12. So this year I'm shooting for 20 heads of cabbage. And anyway, so I made that list of what to grow, how much I need, and then I went through and used my Clyde's like sliding planner chart. I wish I had it in here with me, but I forgot it. But then I go through and write the dates down of when these items need to go into the ground, and that's where this came from. So I just reversed engineered the schedule basically and wrote my dates here. So last year, what I did, I used a spreadsheet that had all of my crops here, and then all the data over here was matching that crop. So for cabbage, the date would be here, the amount would be here, the variety would be here, and it would just go across the page. But what I found doing it that way was I was having to search for the dates, and that's my problem, right? My problem is remembering the dates and getting them into my, right in front of my face, you know, so I don't forget them. And I found that with that format, with that spreadsheet format, I was having to look really hard to find the dates that I needed to do things. So this year I switched it up in this Laurel Denise planner, and I made the date first on every column. And even though it's only January and I haven't really enacted this plan yet, I can already tell that just having this highlighted column right here of dates for each stage of the process is going to be so helpful, and I really think this is going to be a winner as far as keeping track of those things. So there's that, and then I also dedicated a page to just some fun garden layout. I'm still working, this is a work in progress. We will probably have an entire video dedicated to the garden plan for what we determine we're going to be doing. Right now I pretty much only mapped out the square footage footprint of the garden. We're expanding this year, but more information will come on that soon. This is just a work in progress, and it's just so fun. It's like the garden planning phase. I kind of don't want it to end. It's just too much fun, but eventually the time will come, the sun will come out, the air will be warm, and I'll be able to actually start enacting all of these plans, and that will be fun too. But this is another exciting page that when I was looking at the pages in the back of this planner, I thought this is this yearly overview dedicated only to gardening and preserving and everything that needs to happen. This page would be perfect for that. And it was just a blank grid page, and I just divided it so that there are 12 columns that match up with each month of the year. And it just gives me a quick overview all in one place of what needs to happen at what amount of time or what time frame. So for instance, this year, it's already January. We've already talked about I need to winter sow my cabbage and kale next weekend. Well, I hardly have any milk jugs. So on here on December, starting in December, and then this little arrow into January, I wrote gather jugs, gather milk jugs. And those are the type of things that I kept forgetting. Again, here's another example. So September and October, we need to go gather leaves for compost. We just drive around with a trailer, pick up trash bags full of leaves that people have sat on the side of their road that's going to be going to the trash anyway. Well, we can get it and turn it into free compost. Well, that needs to happen in September and October, and if I forget, well, then I end up having to pay for compost, and that's no fun. So that's just another example. And another example would be my harvest time frame and my food preservation time frame. Like I can already, see June, July, August, and September are extremely busy months, and what that means for me as far as my planning my household and homeschooling and working and all of that. I don't need to be overloading myself with a ton of big projects during this time frame because I'm already going to be extremely busy with preservation and harvesting and all of that fun stuff. But I just did like a monthly overview, a very brief, not a ton of details, because my details are going to be going into my monthly spread, and I'll show you that in just a second, what I mean by that. But let's see, let's look at February. So in February I need to plant potatoes, carrots, onions, and peas. I need to call Mr. Bill and talk to him about some soil, see what he's going to be having available this year. I need to inventory what I have and just see what I need. I need to order my onion starts. I always order from Dixondale Farms, by the way. If you're going to be growing onions, I highly recommend Dixondale Farms. And then also in February, I need to start prepping my beds for March and April's planting. So let's pretend it's February, and I'm sitting down and I'm going to start mapping out my month for February. What I'm going to do is I have my monthly at a glance February here, and then I'll go into, let's see, this is February, so let's pretend I have my garden section here just like I do on January. I have my garden section down here. So in February, I'll do the same thing. I'll have this whole section right here will be dedicated to gardening. And I will come through and write, I'll transfer this list to here, but also any dates that need to transfer over. For instance, in March, I have a very specific date of March 2nd. Why that specific date? Well, number one, it's a weekend, so I'm going to have more time available But also later on in the months of March, I have some activities that are going to take me away from the house, and I'm not going to have as much time to be dedicating to winter sowing, which takes a while. It's several hours long process. But I'm also getting like all my seeds started, so it's well worth the investment, but I just need to know ahead of time that that's going to be happening on that weekend. So if it's a specific date, I would take that and transfer it over into my monthly view right here. Again, with a color-coded green highlight, and then I would transfer that, more details on whatever date the weekly view, whatever date it matches up on the weekly view. So I think that was pretty much all I wanted to kind of show y'all. I hope that kind of gave you some ideas for, you know, what to do. I've only done the gardening portion. What I need to do next is the food preservation portion, because that is another very busy time of the year, right? Y'all know that. So for instance, I have in our Sprout to Supper planner on the canning tab, I have the things that need to be done in particular months. So for instance, pear chunks, we're going to be harvesting those around August, so I need to process those around September. Same thing with like green beans. Those are going to be coming in full force kind of the end of July. And so I know I'm going to be working on green beans. I'm going to be working on let's see, curing my sweet potatoes in October. And so I'm going to be coming to this preservation section, and I'll be transferring that over into my planner as well. So this is, both of these planners, we have links in the description box below to the Laurel Denise planner. Highly recommend it. It is just a fantastic view to be able to see everything all at once. I've never worked with the planner that allowed me to do that before. And for my easily distracted brain, or I guess I should say juggling too much brain, and having to remember so many things, it has just been such a blessing to be able to see everything and feel like everything has a home on paper and not just in my brain. So I'm not having that constant overwhelm feeling, or that constant feeling of I'm going to drop a ball and it's going to be bad. So I highly recommend that. If you're new here and you have not seen our Sprout to Supper planner, go check that out in the link in the description box. We decided to celebrate the new year and go ahead and make the planner available alone by itself. Previously, the Sprout to Supper planner was only available in our Sprout to Supper course, which is a complete step-by-step video and text walkthrough of everything you need to know to start seeds and then take you all the way through growing, harvesting, preserving, and serving it on your supper table. But we decided to celebrate the new year, and I'll make that available to you just in the planner for us. You can now purchase just the planner separately if you would like. So those links will be down in the description box. I hope this provided some ideas for y'all, and I'm so excited to get going on this year. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.